Today we're going to talk a little bit about our APU, the auxiliary power unit, about air conditioning and fans on the truck, and a little bit about the shore power, which you might use if you're home. So let's talk about the shore power first. I know basically you're never going to want to run your APU while you're plugged into your house. Make sure it's off, and you want to make sure that you're plugged in right. The plugs that came with the truck, or if you didn't get one with the truck that you bought, should have a little light that tells you you have power supplied. My old truck did, I think it was 15 amps, and it didn't let me run my air conditioner while I was plugged in. My newer truck allows me to run the air conditioner with, I think it's 30 amps. However, if I try and run the AC and microwave and the coffee maker at the same time, I'm going to pop a circuit breaker at my house. So you got to be conscious of that. So that's one way to power everything. And when I'm home, of course, zoning doesn't let me stay there, but once in a while I'll sneak in and I'll do that. The other thing, so when you're on the road, you have the dashboard air conditioning, and when you're using that, you also have your slave air conditioning, which is right there. And that will be, if you have your AC on, it'll be a few degrees warmer than what the AC is, and if it's the heat, it'll be a little bit cooler than what the heat's set at. You have two switches, fan control and temperature control. That works when your AC's running. If you leave it on when the truck's off, you're going to hear the fan running, and it won't really do anything but be a fan. So just remember to turn that off when you're not running the truck. So the other thing that you have, which if it's not humid and it's kind of a comfortable temperature, I'd say from 55 to 70, you've got a little remote control hanging on the wall that looks like this. And so this controls both of your fans. If you have a bathroom, it'll control the fan in your bathroom and the fan in your main sleep area. So the first thing you do is push this button up top. That'll actually activate a motor and open up the vent, turn on the fan. And that's good for when you're cooking. It lets the air go out. And that's the default mode when you first start it up. The air's going out. Then there's a button down here that says air in and out. You're going to push that. It'll stop the fan from spinning and reverse the direction, so now you have air coming in. You now have some controls up and down, and these numbers here are your temperature ranges, and that would be your range that you're trying to set your temperature. So if you want it at 75 or 70, you move the arrow down till you see the green lights come down, and sometimes it'll light up both and be in between 70 and 75. It will be both lit up there. Hard to see there, but you can also just control the speed on these switches, and then the lights will be relative to the speed you want and percentage of fan operation. So you have that. If it's chilly at night and you have it set for 70, chances are the fan might not rotate at all because it knows it's already cool enough. So that's how that works. And then when you want to close it up and stop it, you just hit that button up there and it'll turn the fan off and close it back up again. If you want to use it in the bathroom, you have to have this remote in the bathroom pointed up towards the fan, and it will control that one independently. All right, so that's a couple ways of getting cooled off. So I'm going to show you the functions, both the displays and the buttons for the APU control. So the buttons we're going to be using are the on-off switch, APU on and off, pretty self-explanatory. The menu button, which it's got different levels of menus, and the left and right buttons, which help you navigate through the menus, and the escape button. Those are the only 5 buttons I'm going to be using. So my APU just shut off, just happened to shut off because it reached the maximum runtime, and that's what that hourglass symbol is. So the maximum runtime can be set anywhere from 2 up to, I don't know how high it can go, 10, 12 hours, whatever you want it set at. I'll typically set it for 2, 2.5, and that way it'll run long enough to recharge the batteries. And if it's not hot out and I'm using my ceiling fan, my vent, I don't need the AC on, I might not be running my APU all the time. It's a little better to do that. It's up to you. It's your decision. So it just shut off, and that's why that hourglass shows the maximum runtime function is elected. So I have that, I'm using it. If it wasn't elected at all, you wouldn't see the hourglass. So the battery symbol, that might make me nervous. Uh-oh, something's wrong with the battery? No, that's not what it is. The battery picture there shows that my battery monitor is in use. And the APU has a line through it right here because it's not on right now. So I'll show you the different functions. I don't use a lot of them, just the ones that I want to use, like maximum runtime. To get through the different items, you use left or right. And if I want to select one, I would hit the menu button. Once I'm in that menu, I can get the submenus. I can go left and right, and I can select it to change it. So if I wanted to set the hours, I would go to where I set it and then hit menu again. Now it's going to give me the opportunity to change it to 3, 2.5, 2, whatever I want to set it at. So now I have an option of locking it in now that I programmed the 2.5 hours by using the menu button again. If I didn't want to change it, or I didn't want to be in that menu, I could escape out of it with the escape button, and that would leave it without changing it. But I'm going to lock in 2.5, and I'm going to hit menu. And since on is what I want for that function, I could hit menu again, and it'll keep it on. If I want to turn that off, I could hit that until it says off. Now I'm going to select off by hitting menu, and it's going to go back to the main screen. So that's how you navigate through the menus. So some of the items that we were talking about, you have maximum runtime. Because we're not using the air conditioning system that's from Carrier, I'm not using the temp start or some of the other features. I'm not using the comfort monitor, but the battery monitor I am using. If I push menu, right now it's on. I could turn it off or set it. And basically I can set the voltage that I want the battery to turn to the APU to turn on at. Right now I have it set at 12.6. Your unit will probably be set at 12.2. I like to put it a little higher just as a safety margin. It's recommended at 12.2, but I just have it at 12.6. If I wanted to turn the battery monitor off or change the voltage, I would just use that. Left and arrow, I'm going to leave it at 6. I'm going to go back and leave it, make sure it's on the on position, and then I'm going to hit menu to get out of that. So that's battery monitor. Like I said, you can set timers for when it turn on and off. I don't mess with the password. Vaults is to look up any problems. And also, if you look at this picture here, if you take off the front cover, this is what the APU looks like from the outside. If you take off the top cover, and if you ever have problems with it, and you look inside, this is what you'll see. If there's different lights that will show up. So if you're having problems with it when it's starting, you can go out and take a video and take a look and let someone know what's happening. This is where you can see what the problem might be if you're having problems with it. But back to the menu. So you can view the faults, and that's how you would look at the problems. So I'm going to also show you calibrating the voltage. So here, if you look at the picture of my dash, you go onto the front of the truck and you want to see, with the APU off and the truck off, what's your voltage? And you can use the left right arrows on the steering wheel and you can see what the voltage is. Once you know what your voltage is, usually if you just shut the truck off, it might be 14.1 or anything down to something in 13 point something. You're going to come back here and hit calibrate voltage, and whatever it is up there, you're going to use the left right arrows to set it at that. And that's with both the APU off and the truck off. You're just turning the power on the key just to be able to look at the information on the dash. And then once you have it set, you hit menu. It should, every once in a while I'll check it. Once in a while you may have to calibrate it, but not too often. I don't usually have to mess with that too much. Alright, so that's calibrating the voltage. That, maximum runtime, battery monitor, and calibrate are the only 4 things that I tend to use on that. And so I showed you the 5 buttons and how to navigate through the menus. So let's take a look at my max runtime again. I turned it off. Notice the hourglass is not up there. That's how I want it right now. Later I might turn it on, but just to show you, let's turn it back on. Now it's on. There comes the hourglass. So that's all there is to that. It's really up to you how you want to use it. If it's hot out, you can just run it all the time to have the AC running all the time. It's all in your personal preference and what your fleet owner recommends. So I'm going to talk a little about the S-bar heater. So the S-bar is basically this little tiny unit down in our utility area where all the electrical components are. Probably no bigger than a toaster, something like that. And it basically has a feed from it siphons fuel out of the diesel tanks. It ignites that fuel, and it heats, blows fresh air through a vent into the sleeper area and blows the exhaust out the other side from the utility chamber. So there's an exhaust tube that it goes out of. So that's it. It's a real simple unit. The controls are even simpler. So you have power button. Once you push it the first time, it just turns the light on. Then you can actually do something with it. So that first push just turns the light on, and now I have it stopped, which is normally where it would be if you're not using it. I just had it on for a little while. It was cold this morning. Your temperature settings, you can use it, make it warmer. All right. That's probably where I wanted, around 72. If I wanted to start it, I would hit it once to turn the light on, and then another time to enable it. Now you see that 24? I have mine set so that it will actually stay active for 24 hours. Your default may be something else, 10 hours, 12 hours. So I've talked to another driver that has one of these. I'm going to turn it off. Stop there. So I talked to another driver that has one of these, and I have the same problem they do. I turn it on, it heats up the truck for a few minutes. When it shuts off, it doesn't come back on. So to say it doesn't ever come back on would be incorrect. It has on a few occasions come back on, but most of the time it could get very cold in the truck and the thing won't come back on. I think it's a fault with the system, and another truck driver has the same system in our fleet. They're having the same exact problem. I think there's some type of inherent problem with this where the thermostat's not operating it correctly. I don't know why or how. There's also another problem in my truck. I was told when I took it in to have this checked that the vent work, the duct work, was too much of a 90-degree turn where it was restricting some of the airflow and was causing it to overheat and shut off. And that did happen because I did get an air statement on that. But that's not what's causing it to not turn back on. It's another problem here. So I've got two problems. But anyway, that's how you work the S-bar. It's real simple. Like I said, just push the button once to get the light on, another time to actually turn it on or off, and then your temperature controls. It's as simple as that. There are ways to set and check your air statements, and ways to set the 24-hour clock or 12-hour clock or 10-hour clock, whatever you want. And you can find that on, I'm sure, on YouTube, or you can talk to a Thermo King dealer and they can probably walk you through that.